Hi everybody, I wanted to make a short video on your next assignment, which is your research-based argument assignment. And this is your next big project, and it's also going to serve as a foundation for your final project for the course, which is your remix project. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. I'll give you some tips. But this paper is going to be, a pretty in-depth process, and it's going to allow you to kind of practice everything that we really want you to be able to do by the end of this course. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to show you this document in a minute, is you're going to build off of your proposal planning document. You will select an in-depth option, and you're going to write a research-based argumentative essay so that you can practice presenting a clear argumentative stance that is supported through excellent secondary sources. What you will really want to make sure that you've done through this project is make sure you stay in D2L weekly and complete all the assignments that are going to walk you through everything from planning all the way until the very end. You also want to make sure you've really gone through your previous assignments in D2L, such as evaluating sources, which I cover the week before we start this assignment, just because I want you to go into this assignment already thinking about that need and that importance of reliable sources. So I do talk about your proposal planning document here. I say you need to rely on that document, but also make sure you think about your exigence and consider audience before you move forward, and make sure you really have a clear purpose that you're working with so that eventually it can lead to a clear stance and thesis. You're also going to want to make sure you make an outline before you start writing. This is also covered as a weekly assignment where you can use the UWC's visual project organizer or develop an outline on your own. This is really important to make sure you know where you're going with your ideas so that you can write deeply and thoroughly. And you can change or narrow your focus as you need to. So one of the examples I used so far this semester is that idea of comparing the US and Finnish system. That's still a pretty big topic. I may end up delving narrower and narrower. Maybe I end up talking about parental involvement in US K-12 education versus Finland or something like that. You really want to get into depth here and not work surface level. So one thing that's going to help you do that is your proposal planning document. This is where I ask you to walk through several different options. I make you show me 3 potential options as you're thinking about what you're going to dive into, just because sometimes your first option is not the best option. And on top of that, this kind of forces you to think really narrowly. So essentially for this document, you're going to type in a topic that you're interested in. Your guiding research question, I have a weekly opportunity to learn video on guiding research questions. Please watch this video because you want to start with a solid question that really helps you dig deep into the topic that you're interested in. I also want you to tell me your purpose of looking at this topic. So what previous knowledge you have or connections you have to the subject matter? Why are you passionate or interested in this? If you don't pick something you're passionate about or interested in, then you're not going to write an excellent paper because it's so difficult to really dig in deep into something that you don't care about. So consider that. I also ask you, do reasonable people disagree about this topic? This is an argumentative paper, so you do need to have something that you're not just going the informative route here. You want to make sure you have something where you can take a stance. So if the answer is no, you're going to want to just scratch whatever you've done so far and go back to the drawing board. What are some subtopics you need to explore? This will help you think of, okay, so what I'm getting at here, let me be clear, is that every paper that you write, you're going to need subtopics because these are going to essentially be the body paragraphs that you dive into. So keep that in mind as you're working through this. So what are some subtopics? Okay, in other words, what are the topics I need to explore in order to prove my thesis, so to speak? Your keyword terms, you don't have to fill in all of these boxes, but boy, oh boy, if you only put 3, you're going to be in trouble. So this means all the key terms you can think of that you would need to search in, for example, Joule, which is the library search engine. What would you need to type in? So let's say I am looking at, let's think about maybe student loans in higher education. So some of the terms already I might want to play with is student loan, university, college, higher education, student budgeting, student loans, student debt, just riffing a few things. So you're going to want to think of all the terms, anything that you might need to put in that search engine. You also might want to think about your subtopics here as far as key terms you might want to put into your search engine. The so what factor is, why should others care? So you're not just writing this for yourself. You want to have an audience in mind, and you want to make sure that you are adding and contributing something to this idea or this field of study. So I want you to think about why it matters, and then who your intended audience is beyond the general public. Oops, I have a double parentheses here. I'll get rid of that. So who beyond the general public and teacher, who will you have in mind that will help shape the content you write? So you're going to do this for at least 3 options. All right, let's go back to our assignment sheet here. All right, so that's what you're going to do. First of all, you're going to propose a topic. And then after that, you're going to start doing things like starting to look through your sources, actually read your sources after you've made sure that they are credible and potentially useful, and see if you need to change your direction or focus. So it's just like I was saying, if I'm looking at Finland education and I'm like, woo, this is good, but there's a lot of stuff, and I'm really, instead of getting in depth, I'm just surface level, maybe you do narrow it to something like parental involvement. That'll help you solidify your thesis statement. Then you're going to think about your outline that you did up here, and you're going to think about how your sources will come into play, how they will work together, what each source can do. For example, do they illustrate the problem? Do they help people become invested? What do they do? You're going to think about how you can quote and paraphrase and summarize from those sources, and then how your ideas are going to talk and walk with those other sources. Of course, you'll write the paper, you'll look at all the organization, you'll revise, you'll need to make sure you have citations for your sources and edit. This is also going to be in APA style. And you have all the final information there as you need it. So the main thing, as you can see, is really thinking about the direction you want to take this paper in. And if you haven't caught the drift yet, you need to be in depth versus having a surface level idea. So make sure you take a look at that proposal planning document and also the video that will help walk you through, having a really solid research question for this project.